Have you been considering making the move to Parker, Colorado, but you want to know what are some of the most popular neighborhoods and some of my personal favorites? Well, in today's video, I am going over exactly that. So if that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and keep on watching. Welcome back to Colorado Living. I'm Nicole Baker. Today we're going over exactly that, but before we get started, you guys know the drill. I have to let you guys know I'm a licensed realtor here in this beautiful state. So if you've been thinking about relocating, my number and email are popping up. I would love to assist you guys, but if you're not quite ready to reach out yet, go ahead and subscribe. I post videos every Monday and Wednesday at 5 p.m., but let's get started in today's video. All right, guys, getting right into it. I want to first preface by saying, yes, I'm going to be giving you guys some of my personal opinions. This is not in any specific order or anything like that, but I would definitely do your own research when it comes to neighborhoods. Just because I like it doesn't mean you're going to like it, and vice versa. So definitely do some research. I highly suggest checking out niche.com. I'll have that linked below in my description box. Go ahead and click that, and it will give you tons and tons of information outside of what I'm just telling you. A lot of the things that I'm going to say is just like the vibe of the area and things like that, versus on niche.com, it really rates the schools. It rates like crime, I think, in there too. And it also has personal reviews from other people that are familiar with that community, like Parker specifically. And I think you can even go down to specific subdivisions, but just check that out. So my very first community, and if you've been watching my channel for a while or watched any of my videos about Parker, you would know my favorite community in Parker is the Pinery. The Pinery is by far my favorite, and I'm gonna go over a couple reasons why. One of the biggest reasons is because it is filled with animals. And if you're like me, I love the nature that Colorado brings. So I'm really looking to be surrounded by wildlife, and that is something that the Pinery has. Another thing that is kind of based off the Pinery's name is pine trees, right? So the Pinery has tons and tons of pine trees, and it feels like you're actually like in the wilderness, but you're not. You're only about, I mean, it is definitely a little bit further. It's probably the furthest south neighborhood you can go before you're starting to get into a different city, but you are still close enough to everything where you have access to all the things that you need. Like for me, I have to be close to a Starbucks. If I'm not close to a Starbucks, I live too far. And then also, you guys know, I am a realtor, so I need to have quick access to everywhere that I would want to go. And I feel like the Pinery still has, it's a great mix of both of those is my point. So you're about 20 minutes away from E470, not too bad, and you're probably 10 minutes away from some like grocery stores and things like that. Obviously that's dependent on how far back in the Pinery you go. It can go maybe like 20 minutes back there. It just depends. Another thing that I like about the Pinery is there's definitely different types of housing within the Pinery. So you have definitely your older, more unique properties, I would say, kind of like a custom home, but definitely more unique with like lots and lots of character, kind of like a cabin-y vibe depending on where it is. That's something that I really like. Granted, it does come with its cons because obviously not all of those are going to be completely renovated on the inside, but you also have the option to, so there's three different options. You have homes that are just old, might need some renovation, new carpets, things like that. Like, I mean, it's been there for a long time, has a little bit of a funky floor plan, right? Or you can get a home that is older, looks older, but has been completely renovated on the inside, whether that be knocking down walls or adding new kitchen cabinets and things like that. Or they also have new homes in there. So in the very, very back, there's tons of new builds, very luxurious communities back there. So you'll have options within all different time frames essentially that you're trying to stick within. If you're only wanting a home that was built between, you know, 1980 and 2000, there's options. If you want to be in between 2000 and 2015, options, and then so on and so forth. You guys get the point. But that's something else that I like about the Pineries. You can really have an array of different things when it comes to that community. The other thing is the price points. So they also have townhomes in there, which is really awesome. Not a lot of them, but still there. So you have probably your starting price point. It's a rarity that you can see one of those townhomes go up for sale, because I think people that live in the Pinery really, really want to stay in the Pinery. They hardly ever sell their houses. So not a lot of homes come up for sale necessarily, and it really just depends on the price point. So anyways, I would say condos or townhomes, I'm sorry, are probably like 500,000 depending on how upgraded it is on the inside. And then there's obviously homes that are excelling well above the millions. I would say a couple million, some probably even more, just depending on like how big your lot is and things like that. When you drive into the Pinery, so there's two different sections of the Pinery. I'm really talking about the eastern side, east of Parker Road. So Parker Road kind of cuts Parker in half. And the Pinery side that I'm specifically referencing is on that right-hand side, but there's also the left-hand side, which is pretty much all new builds. Either way, my point is you have the golf course right there. You also have a lake. You have tons of pine trees. I'm just trying to think about anything else. I mean, really my favorite part is all the deer that come in there all the time. I just think that I really want to be close to nature without being too far away from the city, and I think that that's something that the Pinery has to offer. Next neighborhood is Canterbury Crossings, another amazing community. This one is a huge master planned community. Again, surrounded by a golf course, so sometimes you'll have your golf course lot depending on where you are in that community, but there are some options when it comes to that. You do have some wildlife going through there as well, not as much. These homes are definitely, I would say, you might have some older homes in there, but it's not the same vibe as the Pinery. The Pinery feels like you're in the forest. And with Canterbury Crossings, it definitely feels like a typical suburb here in Colorado. So you have different age groups as well. You're probably gonna have most of your homes maybe in like 2010-ish and moving upwards. I would say it just really depends on what price point and things that you're looking for. But again, it's a master plan community. So you definitely have different age ranges, and then also you have different price points. Average price in that community, I would say you're definitely looking around 700, give or take, depending on square footage and a million different variables, and also depending on when you're watching this video. So that's one thing. Another thing that I like about Canterbury Crossings that, for example, the Pinery doesn't offer is going to be super, super quick access to pretty much anywhere that you need to go, because you're probably maybe 10 minutes, depending on how far in Canterbury Crossings, because again, it's a huge community. You're about 10 minutes away from E470, which means quick access to get on the freeway, get to work if you need to do that. If you work downtown or you plan to travel a lot, having access to E470 is very convenient. You also are pretty close to Main Street, which is kind of like the old town area of Parker, which is another one of my favorite areas. And I think a lot of people's favorite areas, and why people love Parker in the first place, is because of this, I guess, essentially this street. And I think a lot of areas have this kind of like old, like downtown area where you have like coffee shops, you have some of like the knickknack stores, you have some food options. Like it's like the perfect place for date nights, for families, for everything. It's just, it has tons of options when it comes to just like on a day-to-day basis, not just doing something special. You also have ice cream shops, a cookie dough shop. I think they have a frozen yogurt shop. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna change as time goes on. But again, you just have amazing options. Also, they do a lot of family events down there. So last event, For Christmas, they did like a Christmas lighting show kind of thing because it's like also a community park right there, right off the main street. So they light this massive Christmas tree and it's really fun. It's not actually a Christmas tree, but it's one of the community trees that they put, I mean, tons and tons of lights on. I don't know how long it takes them to decorate that thing, but I'm sure it takes a lot of time. For Halloween, they did like a trunk or treat kind of thing for kids. If you guys have kids or you've done that before, you know what it is. People basically open up their car trunks and people start giving candy out from there. It kind of started during the whole last couple years, but super fun and very unique. I don't know a lot of communities that do that, so that's something that I really like about being super close to the main street, and that is why I really like Canterbury Crossings as a option, especially if you're looking to stay a little bit more budget friendly and closer to the freeway compared to the Pinery. Alright guys, last but not least, Raleigh Downs. Raleigh Downs is another one of my personal favorite communities, and it is definitely different than the last two that I mentioned. So, well, I guess it's similar to the Pinery in ways, but I would say it's different because it's very unique. It's not similar to pretty much any other neighborhood that I've ever seen. Raleigh Downs is very, very small. I would say maybe max like 200-ish homes in there. I'm not positive. But it's very small is my point. It's not a huge community and it's a very unique layout as well. So basically every single street has a cul-de-sac around it, if that makes sense. So it's like a circle and then kind of like cul-de-sac, 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 cul-de-sac. And I just feel like that's so unique compared to kind of these master planned communities where they don't have very many cul-de-sacs. And if they do, it's not like the whole neighborhood's built around it. This community is actually just like all cul-de-sacs, and in the middle of some of them, they have like these huge green belt kind of areas with massive pine trees. The neighborhood is definitely older. You have lots and lots of mature trees, but you're still close to everything that you need to be close to. So it's just a little bit more, what direction am I looking? A little bit more west towards Parker Road. So it's a little bit closer to Main Street. It's a little bit closer to food, not much compared to Canterbury Crossings, just maybe like 5 minutes depending on where you are in there, but still quicker access to all the things that you need. So all the things that I mentioned about Canterbury Crossings and like proximity to the things that you want to be close to also go with Raleigh Downs. So if you're interested in being close to all the things that you want to be doing, that might be a great option for you, especially if you're looking for something a little bit more, that has a little bit more character, not like a typical track home neighborhood, which those are awesome as well. It really is just dependent on kind of like your vibe and what you guys like. If you want a little bit more character, a little bit older home, but you also want to be close to everything that you want to be close to, Raleigh Downs is again an amazing community, and it is one of my favorites as well. These are all pretty much some of my favorites. Parker in general, again, if you've watched some of my videos in the past, you guys know I'm like obsessed with Parker. I don't live there right now, but I always say the next house that I buy, it'll definitely be in Parker because it just has a very, like, I don't know, it's just cozy there, and there's lots of nature and wildlife walking around throughout the town, and I just love that. Something I definitely didn't have in Arizona where I came from. Go ahead and comment down below. Do you guys have deer just like walking around in your neighborhoods? Because when I moved here, I thought that was so crazy and I absolutely loved it. So that is definitely why Parker is on my list for the next place to live. But Raleigh Downs is another amazing option if you're thinking about neighborhoods in Parker. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. I would love to know if you guys are enjoying this content, if it's giving you value of any sorts, that would be awesome. And then also if you want to subscribe, I post videos every Monday and Wednesday at 5 p.m. And last but not least, I am a licensed realtor here in this beautiful state. So if you're interested in moving here and you want more information, my number and email are popping up. I love assisting you guys with your move here. It was the best decision I ever made. So I feel like it's the best decision for everyone. But if you have questions, go ahead and reach out to me. And until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Bye.